We open to find two men digging up a grave for their mother, reminiscing about how she used to be. They notice a car stopping, prompting Owen to signal his younger brother, Oswald, to hide inside. The man from the car steps out to check the engine while his lady waits inside. She becomes startled, telling Stephen, the man outside, that someone is there. Stephen cannot hear her and lowers the hood, just as we see a man charging at him with an axe. He strikes Stephen across the head, causing the woman to scream. Witnessing the attack, she rushes to exit the car and realizes the man has vanished. As she approaches Stephen to check on him, the attacker reappears and strikes her hard, causing her to lose consciousness. Later, we see the woman chained inside a barn. The man from the beginning arrives and begins to tell her how she will become famous, as she will be the highlight of the missing persons news. He continues to explain how he has a use for her while making lewd, suggestive comments. He grabs her wallet and learns the woman's name, which is Celeste. The man introduces himself as Owen and his brother as Oswald. He threatens her to stay quiet as Oswald sneaks around. He leaves, saying he has work to do. Celeste becomes scared when she hears a man growling and groaning from the next room. We witness an ominous sight, Oswald chopping Stephen into pieces as the wind howls. The next morning, Oswald brings a glass of milk for the beaten woman in the cage. He works on opening the cage, and the woman slides out with much effort. He asks her to lay down while he chains her and closes the heavy door as he leaves. We flash back to 1998, where a group of friends is on a road trip. Their car breaks down, prompting Mike to angrily get out and check it. Upon seeing the busted car, Mike tells Jenna that he is going to the gas station to get help. He tells her this and asks her to join him, but she just gives him a curt answer, causing him to leave angrily. As the boys go away, the girls talk. Jenna tells Taylor how Mike has been hanging out somewhere without telling her about it and shuts her down when she asks about it. The other girl, Taylor, decides to go with Mike to help him out. We get a foreboding feeling that something bad is going to happen to them. On the other hand, a man is carving an animal as we hear animalistic growls of a man in the background. Taylor catches up with Mike and informs him that she will be joining him. They embark on their journey as Jenna and Chris discuss how far they are from their homes. The conversation shifts back to the previous night, with Jenna finishing her call with Chris and calling him an idiot before heading off. As she wanders to find a suitable place, she trips on something, triggering a bell underground and alerting the man below, who springs into action. Meanwhile, Taylor and Mike discuss Mike's failed relationship when Taylor asks how far this place is. We soon learn that these two are actually cheating on their partners with each other. As they become intimate, they hear something, prompting them to leave, but we see a man creepily watching them. Back on the road, they attempt to find a gas station to get help. Jenna, now finished with her business, returns when she notices a bloody handprint on a tree. She goes back and tells Chris about it, who reassures her it might be a hunter. We are shown a haunting sight of a bloodied butcher's knife. Meanwhile, on their journey, Mike and Taylor discuss how others will react when they find out about their relationship. Taylor, being insensitive, seems not to care about it despite being Jenna's friend. In the woods, Chris records the bloodied handprint that Jenna told him about. Upon returning to her, he shares that he also didn't have a good time last night. It becomes evident that Chris might have some feelings for Jenna as he stares at her. We see Celeste bound and sleeping inside the shed. Meanwhile, Mike and Taylor finally arrive at the gas station but find no one there. Suddenly, a man appears and asks them how he can help. The man, whom we know as Owen, asks a lot of questions, making things awkward. They learn that the man isn't good at fixing anything, and he advises them to get a tow truck to take them home. Seemingly angry, Taylor leaves after Mike calls her just a hookup. Owen makes a call and tells Mike that a truck will pick them up, but we notice him acting strangely when he learns that they have two more friends. Owen gives a fake name to Mike and asks him to call him Will. Back in the car, Chris notices a man taking a picture of them, prompting him to record the unsettling encounter. Jenna watches the recording and becomes creeped out. We see Taylor and Mike arguing with each other, which causes Taylor to leave, asking Mike to pick her up on the way. Owen watches this from the window. As Mike relaxes, he hears grunting sounds, prompting him to go inside to check it out. He sees Owen getting hurt as he works on something. Mike offers to help, but as he gets down to check the machine, Owen, distracted, hits him square in the head. Chris and Jenna are still creeped out, so they go after the man, with Chris grabbing a stick. On their way back, we see Taylor foolishly rustling in the woods. Chris and Jenna come to a stop when they see their Polaroid on the road, causing them to hurry to the gas station. Taylor returns and gets startled by Owen, who tries to bait her into coming outside, but she decides to wait for Mike. Getting irritated, Taylor enters and starts shouting Mike's name, to which Owen tells her to go look for him. As she wanders around looking for her friend with benefits, we see Owen preparing to do something nefarious. Inside, Taylor finds the bathroom and, hearing running water, goes to check it out. Scared, she grabs a weapon and tries to leave. But then a creepy music box starts playing. Distracted by it, she doesn't see a burly Owen charging at her and hitting her. Chained, Mike regains consciousness and sees Owen with Taylor. He tries to break free, but Owen tells him to stop. Owen begins to taunt and roast Mike, questioning why he's with Taylor if he has a girlfriend. Owen calls him a bad person for lying about his relationship. Suddenly, Owen viciously electrocutes Mike, causing him to scream in agony until he passes out. Owen, pleased with himself, grabs Jessica on his way out to have some fun. Still searching for the gas station, Jenna finds a photo of Mike and Taylor together and starts calling them names. As Jenna tries to devise a plan to leave, poor Chris starts to cry as his feelings are hurt. Jenna tells him to man up, explaining that this is the reality of people. The pity party comes to an end when Oswald charges at them with an axe. He hits Chris, injuring him, but Jenna manages to run away. We witness Oswald brutally cutting Chris's legs and back, causing him to cry out in pain. In the woods, a terrified Jenna is chased by Oswald. She hides, narrowly avoiding being caught. Meanwhile, an injured Chris struggles to drag himself along the ground, but Oswald soon arrives and strikes him hard on the head before the scene cuts. Later, Owen is driving, carefree and listening to music, when Jenna, in typical horror movie fashion, runs towards him asking for help. Oblivious to what he actually is, she gets into the car with him. Owen stops the car, grabs his gun, and instructs Jenna to go inside to make a call. As she tries to make the call, she notices harrowing pictures on the wall. Owen points the gun at Jenna, explaining the messed up rules, while Celeste listens in on the conversation. Jenna asks Owen why he is doing this, but Owen simply warns her about following the rules. He begins to act creepily towards her, making Jenna scared. Meanwhile, inside the barn, we witness a pathetic and sad sight of Celeste trying to scream as she struggles against her ropes. Outside, Owen instructs Jenna to remove the bodies from the truck. She grapples with the weight of the bodies and seems to go silent, prompting Owen to scream at her. Jenna bursts out cursing at him, which angers Owen, causing him to point the gun at her face. Terrified for her life, Jenna picks up the body and drags it inside the barn, where she notices Celeste. Owen, seeing that her work is done, hits her hard, causing her to pass out. We transition to the middle of the story as Owen enters his barn, while Oswald reads a poem to Celeste like a retard. We see all of the prisoners listening as Owen works on the chains. Later on, we see Jenna and Taylor in chains with their mouths shut. They hear the growling of the man as Owen enters their prison. He makes comments about how he doesn't eat people, but his ox does. He jokingly mentions hating vegetarians, a sentiment I hilariously agree with. He threatens them to stay in their lanes, or else Oswald will torture them. He makes introductions and calls Oswald, who drags in an injured Chris. When Owen notices Taylor staring at Oswald, he punches her, saying Oswald hates when people stare at him. We see the sick and grotesque torture of Chris start as others watch in horror. Oswald takes pictures of what he did, and Owen orders him to take Chris out to cut him up as it is feeding time. Disgusted by what happened, we see Taylor throw up, so Owen pulls away her gag and splashes her with water. He puts the gag back, telling how he will bring Mike next time. He goes on to tell Jenna how Mike has been cheating on her with Taylor, but he gets amused as he realizes that she already knows. He leaves the room, and we see the regard Oswald cutting Chris into pieces. Inside, Jenna seems to have a plan and tries to explain it to Taylor. As they go to work on it, they'd hear the grunting sounds of the man, or whatever the hell he is. Owen leaves the property, so Oswald enters to check out what is causing all that noise. As he enters, he sees that the girls are not there. He gets outplayed by them as they run away while trapping him inside. He starts to cry and grunt like a madman. Taylor and Jenna runs away in search of a car, and we see an enraged Oswald gets out and goes after them. Owen arrives at the gas station, where we see poor Mike is still hanging. He tases Mike when he doesn't wake up. When Mike asks him why he is doing this, Owen just gets irritated, saying he does this because it needs to be done. He gives a choice to Mike to choose between Jenna or Taylor, seemingly messing with him as he still beats him up. Later on, Jenna and Taylor finally find the tow truck. They explain what happened to the man, but he continues to stall despite their begging. He tells them to get in the car. As the girls sit inside, relieved, we see the truck start, causing Oswald to miss catching them. Inside the car, Taylor discusses her situation with Mike like an idiot, but still thanks Jenna for saving her. The truck stops at a garbage site, and the man gets out with a pistol, increasing tension in the scene. He asks them to get out, or he'll shoot them. They comply, and the man introduces himself as Will. He instructs them to start walking, but Jenna doesn't move, prompting the man to threaten her further. As they walk around the fields, feeling like they're heading towards their deaths, Oswald suddenly arrives and brutally kills Taylor as Jenna watches, sobbing. We then see Jenna back at the barn as Will and Oswald talk about someone named Oxford. We learn that the terrible growling sounds heard from the start are actually coming from Oxford. As Oswald and Will argue, Jenna grabs a weapon from inside. She watches them fight, with Will pointing a gun at Oswald, calling him a mad little boy, which visibly angers Oswald. Jenna sees a pregnant Celeste and is horrified by her condition, vowing to help her. As Jenna cuts the ropes around Celeste's hands to free her, she hands her the knife as well, which turns out to be a very bad idea. Celeste violently stabs her own belly in anger and disgust, ultimately stabbing her neck, ending her misery. Horrified, Jenna grabs the knife from her just as Oswald enters the room. Witnessing the scene and thinking that Jenna killed Celeste, Oswald flies into a blind rage, hitting Jenna with all his might until she passes out, while he stands there crying and wailing like a child. Meanwhile, as Owen returns, Will tells him about Oswald killing Taylor, which angers Owen immensely. When he arrives home and finds Celeste dead, Owen starts to shout at Oswald, who in turn becomes increasingly angry, losing the little sanity that he has. We witness a disturbing scene as Owen sings to try to calm Oswald down, but it seems to only make him angrier. An enraged Oswald storms off, leaving Owen to talk to the dead Celeste while Jenna wakes up. Will, who is leaving, notices that he left his knife back at the barn. Jenna, now outside, climbs into the trunk of the car, where we see Mike bound up. Owen brings Celeste's body outside to deal with it. Jenna helps Mike out of his binds, but the dumb idiot goes to kill Owen despite Jenna's protests. We see both of them wander the house in search of Owen. As Mike goes outside, Owen attacks him and easily overpowers him. In a turn of events, Mike manages to kill Owen, but the moment of happiness ends abruptly when Will arrives and shoots Mike. As he rejoices in his victory, Jenna kills him from behind with a butcher's knife. Seeing Jenna crying while holding Mike, Oswald goes inside and finally lets out Oxford, who is as ugly as he sounds. Oxford starts to eat Mike, but somehow Jenna is able to escape. Oswald orders him to get Jenna, and in a climactic moment, we see a crazed Oswald looking happy and smiling as Oxford chases Jenna. Despite her efforts to start the car and escape, she gets shot down and eaten by Oswald in the end. This is all for today. See you in the next one. Subscribe and take care.